Eugene Mulero here with Transport Topics, and joining us in the studio is Stephanie Beasley, transportation reporter with Bloomberg BNA. And Stephanie, tomorrow the Senate Commerce Committee takes up an FAA reauthorization bill. They're going to mark up their version. The House passed their version, the T&I committee, in February, and the Senate, so far, they're going to be considering many amendments, and there's the expectation that some of the amendments will be trucking related, especially looking at some hours of service issues, meal and rest provisions, that was similar to the House version, and including trucking in an FAA bill is expected to be somewhat controversial, to say the least.
Right, so this is an issue that actually has been sort of percolating around the chamber since the highway and transit law last year, which passed late last year.
That's
but
right.
Basically, there was a provision in the House version that would require or basically would oppose any laws that would implement these rest and meal breaks. And so what's happened since that provision is not included in the Senate version of the FAA reauthorization bill. And Senator Boxer, who was one of the key negotiators for the House or for the highway and transit law, has said that she would oppose any bill that would include that was something she fought against during those negotiations for the highway law, and she was upset to see it resurface in this FAA.
And a few weeks ago, she had a high-profile press conference with reporters.
Right, where she basically said that she and T&I Chairman Schuster had such a lively fight that it almost burnt the bill down over this trucking provision. But I talked recently with Representative Jeff Denham, who's a Republican from California, and a big supporter of this sort of rollback of the state laws that would allow these trucker rest breaks.
And he's the one who tried to get that provision in the highway law, the FAST Act.
And he has said that he really feels like lawmakers still have opportunity to come to an agreement on this, and that if the Senate isn't going to adopt language, the same language as the House version, that they should come up still with something in this Senate FAA reauthorization bill.
And I can see that being challenging because Boxer will gather some support from her Democratic colleagues and put up a fight, when this FAA bill reaches the floor. Stephanie, but this is an aviation bill, and give us a little bit of background on what the Senate is going to take up tomorrow.
Right, so there are lots of differences between the Senate version of the FAA bill and the House bill. One of the key, or a couple of key differences, one is the length. So the Senate version is about 18 months. It'll last until September of 2017, whereas the House version would have been 6 years. So it's a much shorter bill. Outside of the trucking issue, the House version also would have proposed to privatize air traffic control, create a nonprofit corporation that would be run by pilots, air traffic controllers, major airlines. The Senate version does not do that. It totally leaves that alone. But then it addresses some of the other issues that were addressed in the House version, which are drone policy. For example, the Senate version would require drone operators to take a safety test before they are able to fly, sort of addressing some of the concerns about people flying drones and not really knowing the rules of the air. It also would have FAA convene a stakeholder group to develop consensus standards for safety features that should be included with drones. But also there are a lot of consumer-related provisions in the Senate version.
That's going to spark some debate and markup.
Right. So the airline industry group, or one of the airline industry groups, Airlines for America, has criticized this bill because they see this as an attempt to re-regulate air services, which were deregulated in 1978. So some of the things in this bill basically would require refunds for delayed or lost bags. They want more information if, say, an airline cancels a flight or delays a flight because of weather conditions. They want DOT, the Department of Transportation, to investigate how the airline is making that decision. All of the fees, like bag fees, seat fees, would be included in the price that the consumer sees, so there wouldn't be any surprises there. But also Senator Blumenthal, Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, has introduced a bill along with Senator Ed Markey that would put a cap on ticket change, cancellation, and bag fees.
That's right.
And he's saying that he's planning to offer this as an amendment during the markup tomorrow. So that could spark some fireworks, especially if the airline industry is already concerned about all these sort of consumer-related provisions.
So tomorrow's markup, we can see hotly debated issues coming from many directions, not just the trucking industry's scenario, but also aspects of aviation. Saying that, banking that tomorrow the Commerce reports the bill to the floor, Chairman Thune of the Commerce panel, he indicated he presented somewhat of a timeline for that bill.
Right, so he would like to see the bill get to the floor in April before appropriations bills. So he's concerned that once they get into the appropriations bills, that's going to delay this process. And the goal, it seems, is to get this done before an extension, which the Senate still has to vote on, would expire, which would be mid-July of this year. So to get something done before Congress leaves on break for the summer.
And then just quick wrap up that yesterday the House, passed their short-term extension of FAA. The Senate is expected to take it up anytime. And FAA programs, the authorization of which expires at the end of this month. So they, have to the end of the month to do that. Stephanie, we're going to be watching out for all of your reporting at Bloomberg BNA. And with transport topics, check out Capital Agenda on Tuesdays. Thank you.